Ladies and gentlemen, you are very welcome back. We are on the countdown to the Abs Pro 2022. I have the pleasure today to be joined by Mr. Hadyn Wiseman, who has very kindly taken time away from his training and his personal life to share his thoughts, predictions, and share his thoughts on some of the banter we've had on Instagram over the last while with his statements coming into the Abs Series, Abs Pro competition for 2022. Hadyn, thank you very much for joining me.
That's okay, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you, and as I mentioned, you've hit the scene, hit the Abs Pro with a bang, with some very outrageous statements for some of the experienced pro lifters. But when we look, so for anyone that doesn't know, Hadyn made the decision during lockdown to make powerlifting a focus of his. He has many different outlets, a man of many different talents. You can check all that out on his Instagram. Some very impressive feats on there, but he's decided to make powerlifting his goal. And your initial target was to total 700 in your weight class, which I believe is 74s or 75s in British. And you hit that. That was all done. So talk us through some of your thought process. As I mentioned before, I know you're a guy who's achieved a lot. You have a lot of athletic feats. So why powerlifting, and what made you decide that that was going to be goal number one?
Yeah, so I was already doing it to support all my acrobatic stuff, and I always love pushing like 1 rep maxes, just because it's like an objective measure of strength, and all of the acrobatic stuff's quite explosive, so getting like a fast 1 RM kind of in my mind would help that. And I sort of figured out, looking at the open powerlifting leaderboard, I was like, I could actually kind of get up there. Lockdown hit, and I thought, all right, let's actually take it seriously. What's the top total in my weight class, of which at the time was 700? So I went for that. Missed my third squat and third deadlift, but still did it. So there was definitely more there on the day with a bit better attempt selection. Probably something like 720 would have been there. But obviously I'm a baby in the sport, so no one really knows me. I mean, a lot of people know me from my other endeavors. And there's a bit of crossover there where people are now kind of watching the powerlifting stuff. And yeah, just, after I did that competition, there's always more numbers to hit. That 700 since been beaten. I think the top lifter now is 723 or something. Wow. So that would be the next minimum target. The real target I want is a 10 times bodyweight total in sleeves. No one's done that other than one guy in like the 70s, I think, but he's in the 52 class or 57 class. Obviously it's a little bit easier to hit that at a lighter body weight, so that would be awesome, somewhere 740 to 750 depending on how I weigh in.
Yeah, that would be an amazing feat. We'd actually love to see you do that at the Abs Pro platform, so hopefully that's a target we can see hit on the day.
There's no more legit place to do it. It's stiff bar, IPF.
Do you know what, man? For sure, and that's one of the things I do want to discuss with you today, the Abs Pro platform itself. But you mentioned, training through lockdown. That's when you made the decision to go this route. You had already been kind of doing some kind of strength work because it was complementary to your other stuff. But your setup, I assume that's your home gym setup, is it? So
that's my garage. That's been built up over time. I started ages ago and bought like a pretty crappy rack, to be honest. And just upgraded over time, built myself a platform in there. And recently moved into a new house with my girlfriend. We bought a house, which is why this room is pretty bare, to be honest. So that was a good opportunity to get the gym a little bit more how I want. So I've got a nice flooring in there now and just added a few more bits. Pretty much got all the bars I could need for any comp. So yeah, it's awesome.
It's a really sick setup. It's really, really cool. Like I'm sure there's many people that have seen it are quite envious of it. It's a really nice home gym setup. But that brings me around to a question. How did you find prepping into, your couple of powerlifting competitions that you have done to date? How did you find prepping into those? I'd imagine most of your building phase was done solo, or have you had certain training partners along the way?
No, it's pretty much just me and my garage, so it can get pretty lonely. You need quite a lot of internal motivation to get it done. I do love going out to another gym where there's like some proper lifters there, but there's not many in like the commercial gyms where I go to, and you're always waiting for a rack. So yeah, I don't know. I don't mind training solo. I have the willpower to get it done, but it can be a grind, especially when you get into those heavy days and lots of volume. So.
Well, it's cool to know that you've got that like determination and grit to push through it by yourself. It is quite common, as I'm sure you're aware, in powerlifting. Most people train in a club and a massive group of people. In fact, many of the abs powerlifting lifters that you will be competing against in the abs pro do tend to train together, so they know each other's strengths, weaknesses, things like that. So one of the things I think that's very cool that you're bringing is a little bit of a wild card element. So one of the way you kind of came onto the scene, your name was obviously on the list, but then you came out with a statement that abs have since reshared. The abs series page has reshared. So your message to the abs pro lifters was, imagine training all those years to finally get a prestigious invite to an abs powerlifting series pro event. You put on your tightest knee wraps and some skinny 74 rocks up in his Spider-Man socks and still places higher than you in sleeves.
It makes me laugh just listening to it.
It's awesome. Listen, that is exactly what we want. We want athletes to, I will say this, I know just from talking to some of the lads, I train out in abs myself, I'm an abs athlete, but you have definitely stirred the pot, and I can't wait to see how you perform.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping for, to be honest. Amazing. I mean, that was basically the caption to a video I posted, which was a training total, which would have won like 18 and 19, and came, I think, second in last year's, and that was right at the end of a block when I'm fully fatigued. I'm in sleeves. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to win unless the stars align and everybody else has a bad day and I have a great day. I hope everyone has a great day, because it's going to be an insane battle to watch. Like, it's so hype already. I'm excited just to watch the others. But if everything goes right, I could be right up there, especially with the, I'm kind of a baby in the sport, so no one's expecting anything of me. It would be quite a shock if I, did well, which is what I'm hoping for. So.
Well, I mean, for somebody as new to the sport as you are, to get an invitation to the Abs Pro platform is in itself a massive achievement. So again, congratulations on the invitation. And I do think there is very strong potential you could be the strongest sleeved squatter in the competition, which would be an achievement unto itself. So I know coming into the competition, as I mentioned, you've had some wars of words with some of the guys, and again, we love to see it. We want it. Like, again, we all know it's nothing personal, but we do want that competitive edge going in. Looking at that roster and that lineup, is there anyone in particular that sticks out to you as somebody you'd either like to beat or like to outrank or place higher than?
Basically, I've seen everyone's open powerlifting profiles. I see what everybody's got in sleeves. In an ideal world, I'd want to have the highest total out of everyone in sleeves. There's some big boys up there. Rob Spence, was he 533 dots or something? I think that was at Spartan Raw. It's something around that. Dave, huge. So he did it in sleeves last year. I know he's in wraps now. I think some of the big names wraps boys are going to be way up there, like 550. I mean, 550 won it last year. Jesse and Luke are obviously, they're like 2 dots apart on their best competitions. So that's going to be a good battle, but I think people are sleeping on everyone, to be honest. The whole roster is just phenomenal. If you're looking at everyone's open powerlifting profiles, everybody's strong, and there's a lot of people that have only been competing in sleeves and they're now coming in wraps. That's going to just add numbers. I think particularly people are probably sleeping on Dave. He's come from IPF, he's used to the equipment. First time he's put on wraps, and from looking at his training, he's just fully sinking his squats in wraps. So I honestly think it could be anyone's game.
For sure. I do think there is going to be a handful of lads there that stand to potentially total over 1,000 kilos. Jake Brennan has done it before. It looks like Dave Richardson might do it as well. Now, the projected first place, the top podium spot projected, is to be the 2021 Pro winner, Luke Tolman. Now, Luke is having a pretty damn good prep by the looks of things, but some other lifters have pointed out that he hasn't posted anything on Instagram other than his bench. I don't know if you've noticed this, but again, you have mentioned you're new to the sport, and I'd imagine for you it's getting in and smashing it for yourself and putting up your best performance and then kind of see where that lands. But outside of your own participation in the lineup, would you agree that Luke is projected first, or do you think some other lifters, Jesse, Jake, Ben Crawwell, do these guys have a shot at taking that first place spot?
I think they've all got a lot of willpower and they're all going to fight for it. I would probably agree Luke's going to be first. He's the only person I've competed with before, actually, out of everyone. So I've seen him lift in person, and he's not been posting many squats or deadlifts, but he's still strong there. You can't deny it. And yeah, he won it fairly what looked like easy lifts last year.
Yes.
And I think he went, you know, a bit under his max just to play it safe with the equipment, because it was a bit of a change for him. But now he's done it. Should have a bit more confidence. But I think the battle, it's not going to be easy for him to win. Like, he's going to have to push it, the same as everyone else.
Well, that was the thing last year. It was pretty much apparent that Luke had the competition won before we even got to deadlifts. Now, I've said this to many others, and I think you'll agree, it's always going to be a better competition if the number one spot is still not decided by the third deadlift. It's unlikely, but I'd really love to see that. But speaking of specific equipment, how has your own training been going coming into the competition? So as I'm sure you're aware, these squats will have to be walked out. It's on our regular 20 kilo stiff bar, which I'm sure will suit you very nicely. It's a stiff bar deadlift, it's not a deadlift bar. Like, how has training been going? Have you been using that specific equipment?
I have. So yeah, when I posted that training total, I actually purposely didn't pause the bench. Like, I had a 175 pause, which would have still had the same statement of, you know, winning the competitions. I said I just wanted to see who would cry about it, to be honest, by not pausing and not walking out. And I did get some bites, which was great. But yeah, everything now is walked out. I've been using the stiff bar for the whole prep. Bench, I use the monolift for bench. So the only thing that I haven't trained is someone lifting off, but I have no one to do it for me when I'm training in the garage. It is harder on the equipment. Like, squat and bench are fine for me. It's the deadlift. I've got like tiny hands, really small hands. I literally can't even hook grip a normal stiff bar. I can just about hook grip a deadlift bar. So yeah, I've struggled a bit with that, but the numbers are still there. You know, if I could have bigger hands, I'd probably add 20 kilos to my deadlift, because with straps, you know, I'm like 30 kilos higher than without.
Well, even looking, just as you mentioned, your deadlift, am I right in saying your current gym personal best on the deadlift is 320? Yeah,
but again, that's with straps and a deadlift bar. I hit 300 recently fairly easily on the stiff bar. And like I said, that was at the end of a block when max fatigue was kind of set in. So I'm hoping we can really push that. I'd say that's normally my best lift. It just depends on the day. I mean, if the grip's there on the day.
Well, that is one of the things that takes a lot of the newer athletes to the Abs Pro by surprise. Abs Series competitions in general tend to run like clockwork. So for some of the bigger athletes, I'm sure this won't be a matter for you. Again, you're a lighter lifter, generally recover faster between attempts, but a lot of the bigger guys tend to struggle with how quickly they'll have to get through attempts. Our platform crew are like a well-oiled machine at this stage with how many of these competitions we've done. They also tend to volunteer at other domestic events like the Irish Powerlifting Federation. So we have a super well-equipped platform crew. Will generally have everything running super smooth, and you'll be also surrounded most likely by some form of fire. You're going to have Gino from powerlifting doing MC. There may be girls dancing around poles, so it's a very different environment to what would be at a stereotypical meet. So from personal experience being at the Ab Series, I think that's one thing that can throw newer lifters. Have you actually taken time, or have you looked back at some of the previous Ab Series events to see what the setup's like?
I've watched the streams. That doesn't bother me. Like, when I was doing my acrobatic stuff, I mean, I got paid as a pro cast in the Olympic ceremonies. That was watched by millions of people. I've, you know, done a few TV things with that. So I don't think the pressure of it and like the big scale that it is and the big show that it is will really bother me that much, to be honest. I can see other lifters that aren't used to that might, you know, have a bit more nerves or whatever. But I'm hoping I'll be fine there, to be honest. And yeah, it does look like a great show. It's just going to try not to get distracted by all the stuff that's going on.
Well, that's it. It is considered one of the most competitive and impressive platforms in all of Europe, if not the most competitive and impressive to be part of. And I think, based as you mentioned, your previous experience and the fact that you're very active online, you've got a successful YouTube channel, you are, you know, in the media eye, people interact with your content and things like that. So you're obviously used to interacting with a great number of people. You're used to being in front of a large audience, which I do definitely think will play to your advantage coming into the Ab Series. So to bring it back around to you and you coming into the competition, so training's been going well, you're healthy, you're training on the appropriate equipment. The only momentary doubt you might be having is a grip on the day, but let's get some predictions from you. Now, it doesn't have to be exact numbers, but if you're daring enough, I'd love to hear them. Tell me, what is the plan for the day? Because I know you're coming in to make a statement, but let's hear it. What? So
I generally open quite light and take bigger jumps just to make sure you get on the board. I mean, I've never been called on depth. I'm always squatting pretty deep, so I don't think there'll be any technical issues like that. It's just the strength. Second attempt should probably be around 260, and then we'll see what's there. Coach is expecting at least 270, so that would be just awesome. Bench has been going really well. I'm hitting, like I said, 175 for a pause, hoping to push that up to 180 for a top end. It's just whether it can stay there after a weight cut and refeed and whatnot. And then deadlift anywhere around 300, and that should be right on 10 times body weight. So if it's a good day, it's definitely, the potential is there. And I mean, no one's done that in the UK, like I said. So that would be huge.
Well, definitely sound like, obviously it depends on how a lot of the other athletes get on. You mentioned Jesse Moore earlier on. Jesse has previously won the Abs Pro-Am, but he has I believe yet to place significantly using this particular type of equipment. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of Jesse Moore. I like a bad guy, and Jesse's actually a very cool guy, but he likes to talk shit, and we love that. So
yeah, it's great.
But that's exactly it. I think there's going to be numerous lifters like that who are fantastic athletes in their own right, but this is a highly competitive platform, a highly competitive environment. So I do believe there's a definite chance anyone could be in those top 3 spots on the podium. But as we mentioned earlier on, I suppose as one of the stretch goals for yourself may be to have the biggest squat and sleeves. I know Mason Mills, who I had the pleasure of speaking to a short while ago. Mason's plan is to give Jake Brennan a run for his money and potentially push a 400 plus kilo squat. So as I mentioned earlier on, or as I asked earlier on, is there anyone you would like to push specifically, or is it just to make your name known in the pro? Yeah,
so I'm looking at it just on dots, basically. Obviously, I'm going to be the lightest lifter there. I think Damien's 82. I don't know if he's gone up a weight class since. So kind of trying to keep up with him would be awesome. But yeah, it's a hard one because, you know, I don't know if anyone else is wearing sleeves, but you know, that changes things massively on the squat numbers. So it's very hard to compare myself to the other lifters. Like I said, if I can get that big dots, if I did 10 times body weight, that's about 550 dots, which is what Luke won with last year. And yeah, to do that in sleeves would be huge.
Yeah, awesome, man. I think you and Damien Nam is a good battle. I think that would be actually a very good one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I like the lighter lifters. I'm biased because I am one. Obviously, I like watching the heavy guys as well, but it's hard to relate to ever doing those numbers or what that feels like. Like, I cannot imagine walking out a 400 kilogram squat. And that's the thing, people have got to walk it out as well. Yeah. When you start getting up there, it's not just the weight, the bar whip and everything. Just, I can imagine that's just so much harder. And
having to walk out in wraps as its own element of complication, skill. But that's dangerous. What I mean. Yeah, but this is what makes it fun, because it means it could be anyone's competition. So based on everything you're saying, it looks like you're geared towards a pretty standout performance here. So we're all very excited to see what you've done. Like, I mean, again, a lot of lifters come into the event very quietly. We've had Davey Richardson over before, and he came in and put up a really tidy performance, very competitive. But again, it was a very quiet run. He didn't have a lot to say before, during, or after, but like, you've already made your presence known to the other lifters, which is phenomenal. That's going to bring more eyes onto the stream, onto the live attendance, which is phenomenal for the sport, phenomenal for the event. But as I'm not sure if you've had the experience before, but Abs Pro will have a 24-hour weigh-in, and we'll be having a press conference after the weigh-in, so everyone will get a chance to speak their mind to each other. Mm-hmm. So have you had the experience of a 24-hour weigh-in prior to a competition before?
Yeah, so pretty much all my comps have been a 24-hour weigh-in. So I do a cut and refeed, which can be pretty nasty, but I've done it before, so it should be completely fine. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to that press conference, and I hope there's some fireworks there.
That's exactly why we're having it. So it'll be a full media day. It's great exposure for the athletes. Now, naturally, immediately post weigh-in, you guys are going to be on your refeed and rehydration protocol. So I'm sure you still want to have that locked in. I'm sure you and your coaches are working quite diligently with an action plan. We are, as of speaking now, we're just a little over 5 weeks out, so we're closing in pretty fast. But I won't take up too much more of your time, but final thoughts, and then you can shout out your own works, your own where to find you at, and then anyone you'd like to thank for your journey along the way. But my last question to you would be, if you were going to project top 3 spots on the podium, who do you think it's going to be?
I think it will be Luke. very hard to say whether Jesse's going to be up there. I think Dave is going to be on the podium.
I would agree, yeah.
And then I think it's between Jesse and Rob Spence and Jake. It's like those 5 is so hard to place. I think Dave's going to come in quiet, like you said, and do well. Second, I reckon. Yeah, it's very hard to say. I would expect Jesse and Luke to be up there, and then it's going to be one of the other 3 in third. But it's going to be some big numbers going up that day, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, and like you said for yourself, like if you have a good day, you are in a competitive dots total to potentially podium as well. Maybe we'll see on the day. So again, before I let you go, by all means, let people watching at home know where they can find you, how they can interact with you, and if there's anyone they'd like to thank along the way, feel free.
Yeah, I guess just my coach. He's really supportive, so that's Eric Matter. You can find me on YouTube. I pretty much post my training there, so you can see all of the wins and all of the fails. I don't really edit anything out, so it's pretty raw if you want to watch that. And I'll be posting up until the comp as well, so my competitors, you're welcome to watch that and shit on me all you like. So yeah.
Excellent. Hadyn, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, so we do appreciate it. Ladies and gents watching at home, Abs Pro 2022, August 13th. Feel free to come join us live at Abs Powerlifting Club, or you can watch on the KiloCast live stream. More details to follow. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we'll talk to you all again very soon.